Almost 100,000 people evacuated last week, and it's about to happen again. Right now, the Pacific Northwest is facing one of the most significant atmospheric river events in years. Rivers at record levels, 5 to 10 inches of rain coming this week, and some locations could see a foot. But here's what nobody's connecting. That moisture doesn't stop at the coast. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how this atmospheric river triggers a chain reaction of extreme weather across the entire country. At the 5-minute mark, you'll learn about the winter storm that brings 50 to 70 mile-per-hour winds. And at the 8-minute mark, I'll reveal the temperature swing that's going to shock you. But first, let me show you what's about to unfold, because the next 7 days will bring some of the most dramatic weather changes we've seen all year. The atmosphere is opening the floodgates. A train of storms is set to impact the Pacific Northwest. Not one storm, not two storms, a train, one after another after another. This raises serious concerns for widespread and potentially catastrophic flooding. But these storms don't die in the mountains. They track east, toward the Great Plains, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, bringing heavy snow and blizzard conditions to millions later this week. And here's the twist that makes this pattern so unusual. At the same time all this is happening, a sharp temperature flip is coming. Much of the country is about to go from far below average to well above average in a matter of days. As that warm air surges north, severe weather may return to the Ohio Valley. Damaging winds, an isolated tornado threat in December. As Genesis chapter 8 verse 22 tells us, as long as the earth endures, seedtime and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. We're witnessing that promise right now. The dramatic swings, the constant change, the rhythm of creation. Let me ask you a critical question. Are you prepared for weather that changes by the hour instead of by the day? Because that's what we're dealing with, a very rare weather pattern that's currently developing. And it's going to impact everyone. Let's start with the jet stream, because that's what controls our weather pattern. Right now, we have a very strong atmospheric river developing over the Pacific Northwest, very dangerous. Lots of moisture pushing into Washington and Oregon over the next few days. Catastrophic flooding is likely. What breaks off from those storm systems? That energy moves into the Great Plains, Ohio Valley, and Midwest. This really ramps up Wednesday and Thursday. Could lead to winter storms, maybe even a return of severe weather. This is a very interesting weather setup. Meanwhile, the jet stream is lifted back to the north for most of the United States. That means above-average temperatures return to the southern plains and southeast. Temperatures as warm as 10 to 25 degrees above normal. Think about that. We just had a major Arctic blast impact millions in the Midwest and Ohio Valley. And now, 3 days later, we're talking about 25 degrees above normal. By Friday and Saturday, the jet stream dips back over the Midwest for a day or two. That brings below-average temperatures again. A little Arctic blast, but not as intense as the last few days. And then, as we get closer to Christmas, things become more uncertain. The GFS model is hinting at a very active weather pattern right around Christmas along the West Coast. That could translate to the Great Plains if a storm system ejects over the Rocky Mountains. Don't miss what I'm about to show you at the 8-minute mark about Christmas week, because the forecast is absolutely wild. But first, let's talk about the temperature change, because this is dramatic. Right now, large swath of below-average temperatures all along the East Coast. Many areas 15 to 20 degrees below average for this time of year. But the Great Plains and West Coast, completely different story. Really warm, dozens of record-high temperatures have been set over the last week or two. By Wednesday and Thursday, that heat builds even further over the Pacific Northwest, which goes along with the rain and snow falling in those areas. And it's only going to get more significant. Wednesday and Thursday bring a really warm pocket of air all the way back into the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Most areas, including Missouri, as high as 25 degrees above average. A lot of the snow that fell in Illinois and Indiana will be melting Thursday. Now, temperatures won't remain above average for more than about 36 hours, but we're still going to see snow melting, and rapid snowmelt creates flooding problems. Friday and Saturday, another little shot of Arctic air makes its way into the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. This could bring blizzard conditions and heavy snowfall to the upper Midwest and northern plains. By next weekend, warm weather returns to the desert Southwest and Gulf Coast. And then, Christmas. Right now, it looks above average for most of the country. If you're hoping for a white Christmas, it doesn't appear overly likely right now. In fact, the GFS model is showing something absurd. A really significant heat wave right around Christmas, with temperatures upwards of 40 degrees above average. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I do think it'll at least be above average for most of the United States. Let me show you how dramatic this temperature change is. Tomorrow morning's low temperatures, most of the Great Lakes and Northeast will be in the teens and single digits. But by Tuesday and Wednesday, high temperatures back into the 60s and even 70s across the Great Plains. Southern Illinois and Indiana reaching the 50s. Indianapolis will get above freezing Wednesday. Thursday is the warmest day of the week for most of you in the Ohio Valley. Temperatures back into the 40s and 50s. This helps melt snow. Friday and Saturday, that Arctic air plummets south again. Not nearly as Arctic as the last 48 hours, but enough to make you bring back out those pants and light jackets. Saturday and Sunday, warm air continues across the Gulf Coast and Southeast. And Christmas? This is where things get uncertain. The GFS model is showing 70s all the way up to Chicago. I don't think this is going to happen, but if it did, it would be one of the warmest Christmas timeframes we've ever seen on record. Something to watch. Now let's talk about the big storms coming to the United States over the next week. A lot of these focus toward the northern tier of the country. Right now, a big atmospheric river event is taking place in the Pacific Northwest. Unfortunately, there will be a lot of rain and snow for the foreseeable future. This is on pace to be one of the more significant atmospheric river events we've had in years across the Pacific Northwest. Especially Washington, where many rivers have already reached some of their highest levels on record. Tuesday, that snow event winds down a little. We'll watch for a small storm system to make its way across Canada. Some moderate to heavy snow possible in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Tuesday evening, another powerful atmospheric river hits the Pacific Northwest, dumping a lot more rain, a lot more snow, mostly during the second half of the day. Wednesday morning, very heavy rain and snow continue across those areas, including Montana, where winter storm watches and warnings are in effect. Wednesday afternoon and evening, this is where things get really interesting. If you're anywhere in the northern plains, Midwest, or Great Lakes, pay attention. A new winter storm is forming from that energy coming from the Pacific. Late Wednesday night, it develops over the northern plains. The low-pressure system begins at 987 millibars. That's a very impressive low-pressure system for the northern tier of the country. Late Wednesday into early Thursday, this intensifies and begins bringing light to moderate snowfall from Montana back to the upper peninsula of Michigan. On the southern side, rain develops over Iowa and near Minneapolis. Thursday morning, this moves further east. And there's a possibility we could see blizzard conditions in parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. How do we know? Look at the isobars, those little black lines on weather maps. They show pressure gradients. When they're tight, very close together, that means strong winds. This system has very tight pressure gradients, which means very strong wind gusts. Many areas in the Midwest could see wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour Thursday. Some areas could hit 70 miles per hour. But here's the really interesting part. On the warm side of this system, severe weather is possible in the Ohio Valley. I don't think temperatures and dew points will be high enough for much tornado risk. If there is one, it would be in far southern Kentucky or Tennessee, and even then, odds are pretty low. However, isolated damaging winds and rumbles of thunder are definitely on the table throughout Thursday. As Psalm 147 verses 16 through 18 remind us, He spreads the snow like wool and scatters the frost like ashes. He hurls down his hail like pebbles. Who can withstand his icy blast? He sends his word and melts them. He stirs up his breezes and the waters flow. We're seeing all of it this week. Snow, frost, ice, and then the melt, the rapid temperature change, the power of weather in constant motion. Late Thursday into early Friday, the storm system moves into the northeast. Unfortunately, if you're looking for snow in New England, you won't see much unless you're in higher elevations. Late Friday into early Saturday, more moisture comes over the Rockies from the atmospheric river event. More snow is on the table late Friday and Saturday in the northern plains and Midwest. No winter storm forecast out of that yet, but it's something to watch. By the time we get closer to Christmas, even more significant atmospheric river events continue over Washington and Oregon. That continues to bring moisture over the Rockies. But it doesn't appear we'll have many major winter storms before Christmas for most of the country. Generally speaking, we'll be in a drier pattern for areas east of the Rockies, except the northern plains and northeast. Those areas remain pretty active over the next 7 to 10 days. Now, back to the Pacific Northwest, because this is where the impacts are most severe. Absolutely hammered by significant rainfall. The forecast between now and Friday, most areas, especially higher elevations, will pick up 5 to 10 inches of rain. Just west of Seattle, a few select locations could see near a foot of rainfall. Overall, the entire region, western Oregon, western Washington, northern California, anywhere from 3 to 7 inches of rain minimum. This is a very significant event. Early next week, rainfall totals keep increasing right before Christmas. If you're living near a river, that's where the most significant impacts will be felt. Almost 100,000 people were evacuated last week in low-lying areas. I would not be surprised if something similar happens later this week, especially for those living near rivers. If authorities issue evacuation orders, follow them. Don't wait. Don't try to ride it out. Water is incredibly powerful and unpredictable. Back over in the northern plains and upper Midwest, it's a little too early to tell exactly how much snow will fall. But one thing we know almost for certain, the winds will be extreme across the Dakotas and Nebraska early Thursday. Many areas with wind gusts around 50 to 70 miles per hour. Late Thursday into early Friday, those high winds make their way across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa. This will definitely cause problems. Could cause isolated power outages. Blizzard-like conditions with any remaining snow on the ground could definitely hinder travel plans. So here's what you need to do over the next 7 days. Today and tomorrow. If you're on the West Coast, prepare for the atmospheric river. Clear storm drains. Move valuables to higher floors. Have evacuation plans ready. Monitor river levels closely. Tuesday and Wednesday, if you're in the Midwest or Ohio Valley, prepare for the rapid temperature swing. Snow will melt fast. Check sump pumps. Make sure drainage works. Watch for flooding from rapid melt. Wednesday night into Thursday, if you're in the Northern Plains, Midwest, or Great Lakes, prepare for high winds and possible blizzard conditions. Secure outdoor items, charge devices. Have emergency supplies ready. Thursday, if you're in the Ohio Valley, monitor for severe weather. Damaging winds possible, maybe thunderstorms. In December, be ready to take shelter if warnings are issued. Friday and Saturday, another brief cold snap. Any melted snow refreezes. Black ice on roads will be a concern Saturday morning. Drive carefully. Next week leading to Christmas, above average temperatures for most areas. Monitor forecasts for any storm systems that develop. Pattern remains active even if specific threats are unclear. Christmas week. If the warmth materializes as forecast, it could be one of the warmest Christmas periods on record. But forecasts this far out can change. Check back daily. The key is staying informed and staying flexible. This is not the week to lock in rigid plans. Weather is going to be volatile, changing, active. Check forecasts multiple times a day if you have travel plans. Conditions that look fine 3 days out could deteriorate rapidly. And here's something critical. Almost 100,000 people were evacuated last week in the Pacific Northwest. That's not a small number. That's a significant disaster unfolding. If you're in that region, take the warnings seriously. Have a plan. Know your evacuation route. Don't wait until water is rising to figure out where to go. For the Midwest, those 50 to 70 mile per hour winds on Thursday are no joke. That's strong enough to down trees, power lines, damage structures. Be prepared for potential power outages. And for everyone, this rapid temperature swing creates its own dangers. Rapid snowmelt causes flooding. Refreezing creates ice. The back and forth is hard on infrastructure and hard on people. As Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 through 6 tell us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. We can't control the weather. We can't stop the storms. But we can trust. We can prepare. We can help each other through it. Check on elderly neighbors. Make sure they understand what's coming. Offer help if they need it. Share information with family and friends. Make sure everyone knows about the risks and the timeline. And stay connected to forecasts, because this pattern is evolving rapidly. In tomorrow's forecast, I'm going to break down that Thursday storm in more detail. The exact timing, the snowfall amounts, the wind speeds, the severe weather potential, everything you need to know. And I'll have updates on that Christmas week pattern that's looking increasingly unusual. The weather is about to change. A lot. But we're going to navigate it together. Informed, prepared, and trusting in something bigger than ourselves. Stay safe, stay weather aware, and may God watch over you through every storm. Until tomorrow.